What's happening, guys? It's Thursday night, and we're back. We're doing another live again, and as you can see, we've got an amazing guest tonight. I'm not gonna waste time putting her in the green room and then bringing her on a little bit. We're gonna jump right into things. I'm excited to have with me tonight Erica Davis with Guild Mortgage. Erica, you are one of the top lenders in the Myrtle Beach area, and your team does an amazing job. I know a lot of my viewers and audience have watched and seen you before. They've used you and experienced the amazing work your team does. And so I'm excited to have you on tonight. So why don't you say hello to everybody and tell them a little bit about yourself?
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeremy. It's always a pleasure working together. I'm just like you. This is hometown. I'm never going anywhere. Absolutely love it. And it's just brings me such joy to be able to help other people make this their hometown and get to experience Myrtle Beach. So that's what it's all about. Jeremy and I helping you guys. I have been in mortgage lending for close to 20 years. I know that does not sound exciting, but it is to me. Again, it's about helping other people. And currently on a show called The American Dream with CNBC. And it's to help other people discover like the perfect area to move. And of course, Myrtle Beach is one of the top spots.
Yeah, so you're like we're having a celebrity night. It's kind of cool because, I'm used to being the guy that when I go around town, people are like, "Hey, I know you from YouTube. I've seen some videos," but you probably get it more than me since you're like on the big name TV shows and all, huh?
I don't know. Your YouTube is definitely a wide reach, so it's fun.
Yeah, well, it's cool because you do that show with your husband, Chris, right?
Mm-hmm. I do.
And tell everybody a little bit about, before we get into what we're going to talk about tonight, tell everybody a little bit about the show and what it's about and what you guys like to do in that show.
Yeah, absolutely. So The American Dream, again, it's a show off of CNBC. It airs typically on Saturday mornings. But basically what it's about is highlighting the different areas that are hot, like hot spots to move. And of course, Myrtle Beach is definitely one of those. And so we showcase Myrtle Beach. We get to, every time we film, it's a different area of the Grand Strand, and it's all of our favorites. Like, obviously, we highlight the different neighborhood choices and housing choices and the range and affordability here. But we also get to showcase the different restaurants, beaches, things you can do with your family, the fun stuff here. So it's been great. It's like I'm a tourist in my own home, and it reminds me how lucky we all are. Oh, you're muted.
It's funny. You mentioned tourists in your own town. Mm-hmm. The other week, my youngest had won some free ticket passes for Family Kingdom. And I hate to say it, I've lived here now in Myrtle Beach for well over 20 years, and I have not taken the family to visit there once because I'm not a big fan of going into all the tourist stuff.
Sure.
But since we had the free passes, I said, you know what? Let's take a trip down. Let's check it out, and we'll hang out. And we played tourists and just had an absolute blast and so much fun. Just kind of being tourists in our own town, getting a ride on the roller coasters and, getting squashed and smushed in the hurricane that spins you around. And it's like, oh, hey, it's great. It's over. And then have you ever rode that before?
Of course. I grew up here. So in middle school, that was like the dare, how many times you could do it.
And then then you're like, oh, it's finally over. And then it starts to go backwards.
Right.
Yeah, and my wife decided I needed to ride with the boy. So my son and I were in ours, and of course he's like smashing into me and thinking it's fun to see how much he can squash his father while we ride along on that one. But, we had a blast doing it, and it actually, while I was there, I got this idea. It was an actual video I did last week about some of the things in the area where you can get the best locals discounts.
Yeah.
And, I don't know if you knew this, but when you go to Family Kingdom, if you say, hey, do you offer a locals discount? They're going to say, sure, we do. They'll ask to see your driver's license. And I think we got VIP passes for like half the price.
Wow.
So, it's amazing. And it just gave me this idea. It was like this light bulb just went off that day. It's like, I need to do some more videos on that. So let me ask you,
Mm-hmm.
what is your favorite place in town to go get a locals discount?
Ooh, when the kids were young, we went all the time to the aquarium at Broadway at the beach. They offer great pricing, and my goodness, that never gets old to see the beautiful fish. They get to, pet what I think it's stingrays. I can't remember, what they get to be interactive with. So definitely, that's a hot one for sure.
Yeah, we used to, and my youngest keeps pestering me to get season passes again.
Mhm.
Get a season pass, and for the five of us, it might have been $150 for
Wow.
the entire year. And if we wanted to, we could go every day over
Mhm.
and over and over to see it. Plus, then when you have that season pass, you also get then even greater discounts when they do the special events. I don't know if Chris has ever taken your daughter, but
Mhm.
around Valentine's Day, they have a daddy-daughter date night where you can
Oh.
go under the sea and see the fish with your daughter. And I took
Beautiful.
Isabel probably like 4 years in a row to do it because she thought it
Mhm.
was the greatest thing. And when you have that season pass, you get a better discount than anything on it. So
That's
anyway,
incredible.
let's get into some of this a little bit.
Sure.
We're starting to get some people joining, and I see them coming into the chat room, which is awesome. Guys, while we're talking tonight, there's about 10, 11 people on so far. Tell us in the comments, where are you guys watching from? Let's start with some fun questions. Interaction is going to make this a whole lot more fun tonight as we go through some of this
Mhm.
stuff. And so we want to answer your questions. We want to highlight your comments and help you along the way. If you're thinking about making the move here, or you've made the move here, or you're just somebody who loves to visit, if you have questions about any of that kind of stuff, feel free to ask them. And Eric and I will try our best to answer them along the way. Let's see here. Kendall's Corner has come in first. She says, so excited to make it live. Soon to be relocating to Myrtle Beach and have been watching all your videos. Thank you for all the information you provide. And we got a celebrity on. Yeah, we
Very
got a
nice.
celebrity on tonight for sure. And hey, thanks for watching the videos. I'm glad you're enjoying them, getting good value from them. And if you need help with making the move here, between the two of us, we can get you here pretty good, I would say.
Absolutely.
And so Kendall, she's actually watching from Raleigh, North Carolina tonight. Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you for joining in. Guys, as we begin talking about things tonight, if anything we say you don't understand or you want us to talk about more in the greater depth, just drop a comment and we will do our best to answer them along the way. So let's get into this a little bit. And tonight, Erica, I was thinking one of the good topics, and I'm sure you've had people asking you this question. This is probably the hot topic button right now of the
Mhm.
whole real estate industry across the country. Is the market slowing? Do we need to buy now or should we wait till 2022? That's the
Mhm.
big hot topic.
It
And,
is.
I keep getting asked all the time, well, should I buy Jeremy now?
Mhm.
And along with it too, the other part that I've gotten a lot of lately is, well, we're going into the off season now, Jeremy. So there's going to be less competition. So with there less competition, we should be able to get a better deal on
Mhm.
properties. So let's kind of unpack this a little bit tonight.
Sure.
Let's talk about it a little bit. I'll bring it from the real estate side. I'll let you bring it from the mortgage side, and we'll go from there. Oh wow, a bunch of people just jumped in. So let's go to the comments so before we get into this. So John says, from New Jersey, but visit twice a year for the last 10 years. I plan to retire to the Garden City area, but that won't be for a long time. John, don't make it too long.
No, life
Calling
is
your
short.
name. Come. It's going, John, please come. James jumps in here, and James said, we're from New Jersey. We're in the process of building a new house with D.R. Horton and Little River. We were told they are building in phases and should expect April 2022 for our phase. Should we something? It got cut off. So, James, whatever the last part was of your message, type that again because it got cut off there for me. K Diamond says, watching from PA, moving to Conway soon. Where in Pennsylvania? I grew up in PA. I grew up in Reading. So hopefully you're an Eagles fan. You might be from the other side of the state where you're a Steelers fan. James is watching from South Jersey, and he's moving to Little River. So awesome. We're getting a lot of good activity, guys. Keep the questions coming. Keep the comments coming. It makes a lot more fun. But what I want to jump into tonight, Erica, is I want to talk a little bit about this whole market and the shift that's coming. And there's a lot of doomsday sayers out there that want to say, oh, the sky is falling. You've been in this business for a while, like me. How long have you been doing lending now?
19 years.
Okay. So you were in 2005, 6, 7, 8 when you couldn't do the loans fast enough, and basically to see if somebody was actually able to get the loan, they held a piece of paper in front of their face, and if they saw that it moved because they were breathing, they gave money.
Correct.
Just say that was pretty much an accurate statement.
It was.
And so everybody got loans, whether they deserved them or not. And then we had the fun that came after it with the collapse. And, you couldn't sell anything. Everything was sitting, and it was how low can you go? And then as we got around to about 2010, 11, 12, things started to shift a little bit into 12, 13, 14, where we started to see a steady incline again. And then it's just continued to do that. Of course, then you get to 2020, where everybody goes, oh, we have a pandemic now. The world's going to shut down. And I don't know about your business, but I think here in South Carolina in Myrtle Beach, we shut down for like 10 days to 2 weeks, if even that long. How long would you say your shutdown was?
Well, we weren't technically even shut down because of COVID. We had, for some unknown reason, technical issues that lasted a whopping 24 hours, and then we were back up and at them.
Yeah, and I remember having a conversation with you because I had listened to a bunch of real estate experts across the country, and they made it basically sound like, listen, the real estate market's about to die. The sky's about to fall again. We're going to have a horrible recession. Things are going to collapse like it did before, but even worse because nobody's going to be able to work and there's not going to be any money. And I don't know if you remember, but I called you like the first week that all this happened. And I said, Erica, what do I need to do? Do I need to do a forbearance on my loan? Do I need to, what should I do? I'm afraid I'm going to, this is all going to happen. What do I do? I want to be prepared. And I remember you saying to me, well, you can start those things if you want, but breathe a minute and see what happens. And I never ended up doing any of those things because the market erupted basically the next day. So, okay. James said he wanted to know, should we wait till 2023? Excellent question, James. We're going to answer that throughout tonight. I guarantee it. Let's see here. K Diamond says they're from Potter County. Okay, so they're Bills fans. All right, I'm okay with that. That's fine. And John says he's watching from Mass. He wants to know, how are the condos selling a little inland from Myrtle Beach? How are they selling, John? They're selling like hotcakes. Our market as a whole, across every part of it, is very strong still. Things are still selling quickly for asking or above. There is many times multiple offers coming in on properties. What I would suggest is when you're ready to purchase, and I had this conversation with someone earlier today. It's really important that we have all your ducks in a row before we start looking at properties, which means if you have a house to sell, we want to get that under contract. If you need to have a mortgage, you need to talk to Erica's team and have that pre-qualification letter or a pre-approval in your hand. I look at the pre-qual or pre-approval kind of like a credit card. I'm pre-approved for this amount. It's kind of like when you get that new credit card in the mail. Congratulations, you have a $5,000 credit limit. Same thing with the pre-approval. That's your basic free credit card to go out and purchase that home. And you want to have all of those things in place before you start to submit that offer, because those are the components that sellers are looking for. They expect that in an offer. So, Erica, one of the things I share with people all the time, how difficult is it to get that pre-qualification or pre-approval?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a good question. And I think oftentimes people are just nervous. They're scared to even go through the process, right? And that's the first thing you have to do, because purchasing is stressful enough. It's a big, big, purchase there. It's how you build wealth. There's a lot that goes into it. So don't be afraid. You want to be well prepared. You want to feel confident with the purchase limit, I guess, as Jeremy says, your credit card limit. So you know the ins and outs. You know confidently, hey, I can afford, a $2,000 payment, or I can buy in the $300,000 range and not add to that stress. You know it's good to go. So the pre-approval process, I highly recommend that. So what it is, you'll go ahead, we've got a great, easy online application. It's secure. You're going to put in all the fun facts. We got to pull your credit. We got to know about your income. And you can get a pre-qualification just based on the application, what you put into our system along with the credit report. However, in this market, because this is a hot market, and as Jeremy said, there's oftentimes multiple offers, you want to go one step above and do what's called a pre-approval. So you're providing the documents to back up the application. Get the hard part out of the way, and it's not even difficult. Typically, you've got all those documents handy. It lets the seller know that you've done your due diligence. You've gone ahead and, we verified that. We know that there are no red flags and you are absolutely a solid buyer. And that goes a long way. It's the next best thing to cash in today's market.
Yeah, for sure. And when you're in an area where you're competing for a home, if you have a pre-approval and somebody else doesn't, your offer, if the other offers are pretty close to the same, they're going to take yours. They're going to take yours if you have, and the other thing is this, you want to make sure that you have that pre-approval from a reputable company.
Yes.
I mean, we can go online. I pulled up on the screen here. It's real simple. People can see how easy it is. You go over here to your website, click on the apply now thing and start the process. It's not a difficult thing. And it takes literally about 10 to 15 minutes and you have it going. I could go to Rocket Mortgage and I could do it probably even in a quicker time frame. But here's the thing. That Rocket Mortgage or Quicken Loans one doesn't hold as much weight as when I say to somebody, listen, Erica at Guild Mortgage is doing the loan. She says we're good to go with it, because people in this town know your team, know your company, know your reputation and brand as a place that's going to get every mortgage done on time, every time. And if you're saying you're able to do the mortgage, I don't remember you ever coming back to me after the fact and saying, sorry, Jeremy, yeah, we said we could do it, but we made a mistake. We can't. So that's pretty good ratios of doing them. So, get those steps in place, ahead of time, and it's going to definitely help you get things going. So I want to jump into our topic a little bit here. And this is the first slide that I want to kind of discuss tonight. And it's on the screen there for everyone to see. It says, we are seeing some signs of softening in the housing market, but context is important here. We're still very much in a seller's market, but we are seeing some early signs of softening. So when you see this coming from the deputy chief economist at First American, whoever Odeta Kushi is, some people are going to go, oh my gosh, the sky is falling. But here's what I have seen in our market. And you talk to agents all across this beach on a regular basis, top producers. We have gone from a part where maybe there were 12 to 15 offers on a property that hit the market to maybe only 4 to 5. Is that really a slowdown? Not really. I mean, they're still seeing homes sell for way over the asking price. So then as it goes on in this other one, it says the U.S. housing market continues to be ultra competitive even as new COVID cases surge, but new data shows the level of competition and ensuing price increases may be cooling off just slightly. They have to put that in blue to make it stand out and freak you out a little bit. Data shows that 49.6% of homes sold for more than initial list price in July. That means almost half sold for over asking. I mean, that's still a pretty good market, wouldn't you say, Erica?
I think so, yes.
It
Pretty
says
safe market.
far ahead of the number reported in July 2020 when it was 26.8. So just a year earlier, when last year in 2020, we were going, oh my gosh, this is an amazing market. Everything is going. It's crazy. Only at that point was about a quarter of the home, 1 in 4, selling for over asking. Now it's 1 in 2. So that's, I think, still a pretty strong market. But where they're saying we're seeing softening is that we've gone from 50.4% of homes over asking to 49.6%. So is there really a cooling off and slowing down? It's so minor. It's really, really not that much. So don't be freaking out when you start to hear this and think, hey, I'm going to wait another little while and get some good deals. And we'll talk about this more in a second. Let me jump back over here and see what other comments we have coming in here. K Diamond wants to know, how's the new construction in the area? Are materials and labor available? Any other considerations? So material prices have come down some, but the price for building is still not. Just they're putting a little more profit in their pockets now. The new construction market is still very strong. Your big builders are not allowing you to do any type of customizations yet. If they say you're building a house and it has gray walls with brown cabinets and white floors, you're taking it. You cannot make any changes. I used the example earlier today when talking to somebody. If it has brass knobs on the cabinet and you'd like to have silver, too bad, so sad. You're going to do it after closing. They're not allowing any type of changes. So the new construction market still extremely busy. Erica, you work with a lot of the builders in the area. Have they said anything to you about how things are going for them lately?
Well, I mean, there's still definitely lack of materials. Recently, I couldn't remember if it's D.R. Horton or another builder, but we had 3 closings that have been pushed out for close to a month because they can't get garage doors. I mean, so something that simple can prevent you from moving into your home. It's just, you take a gamble with new construction, that's for sure.
Yeah, I had... Yes, I had one that was building a home that had a 3-car garage. So it had a double and then it had a single. They can get the doubles, but they couldn't get the single. So what they ended up doing for these people to get a certificate of occupancy and close is they took a double door, cut it in half, put a temporary on their single and a temporary on the single next door so that they could close those 2 homes, and then had to come back a month later and replace it when they could get the things in. But I have heard they're having trouble getting garage doors. They're having trouble getting appliances. And they were having trouble getting flooring, I think, was the other big thing that they were starting to have some issues with. So, like Erica said, if you do go that route of buying something new construction, there is a good possibility that the home could be delayed, or you're buying it with partially done, because what the builders are going to tell you is this: October 5th is your closing date. We want you to close on October 5th. If you don't close October 5th, you're in default of contract. And basically they're going to say, here's your earnest money back. Thanks. Take the home, put it on the market for a higher price point and sell it to someone else. My people had to take the home with a temporary garage door. They were missing there was appliance, I think, that was missing. And they had no shelving in any of the closets. And they had to close. And they basically forced them to do it. So when you're going down that new construction route, people just be real careful. It could get tricky real quickly. Ashley's watching in from Pittsburgh tonight. Welcome, Ashley. Let's see here. Slick Rick, what is the interest rate now for a mortgage? That's all you, dear.
It is. That's a great question. So they're great right now. I mean, honestly, the average is low 3%, but it definitely depends on the situation. A lot goes into interest rate. Credit score obviously does, how much of a down payment you're making, the occupancy. If it's your primary residence, you're definitely going to get a little bit better pricing than a secondary or investment property. And lastly, the type of property. Single family, better pricing than what we call a condotel. And condotel is kind of unique for our area specifically, but it's legitimately a condo hotel. So if you can do a Google on the particular condo complex you want to purchase. And if Expedia comes up and TripAdvisor, that is a condo hotel and it's a little bit more riskier. Therefore, the interest rate is a little bit higher. So it's not a black and white rate, but they're super, super low right now.
Yeah. And I've got somebody right now who is trying to buy one of those condo hotels.
Mm-hmm.
And we had to go with another bank to do it because of the type of mortgage and that they were doing. And what I have found in this deal is they are very nitpicky on every single criteria. Whereas if it's your primary residence, some things might be able to just kind of be like, okay, no problem. Whereas when it's an investment and you're doing it in these high risk places with all of these fun things, the underwriters seem to look at stuff a little bit closer, don't they?
They do. And I have to remind clients too, this is perfect. It goes hand in hand with our subject here, but it's all for our protection, right? We don't want to have another housing bubble. And that's why there's guidelines to making sure you qualify and you're not putting yourself too much at risk. So with condos, it's just another layer. And again, for your protection. So not only do we qualify you, we also need to qualify the building, the complex itself, to make sure that there's not, a big lawsuit, that there's adequate reserves, there's not a big concentration of homeowners that are really behind on paying their dues. Because you know what? It's all going to come back to you, and it's additional money, additional expenses, and possibly a big risk.
Yeah. You mentioned a word a minute ago. So I'm going to ask you, put you on the spot. I'm going to put you full screen so we can see.
Oh, great.
Are we going to another housing bubble right now?
My answer is no. And a lot of it, it's because of, what I mentioned. There is these guidelines in process for our protection. And even with COVID, yes, there was additional restrictions, again, just to make sure that you're in a good position financially to afford this. That's why we have appraisals now. It used to be, in that era, 2005, you can sign away in 5 forms and get the house, and you didn't even need an appraisal. I mean, it's...
I think I bought 3 of my 5 properties back then without any type of appraisal done. And one of the other ones was a drive-by.
Right. Gone are the drive-by.
Literally, I don't even know if the guy slowed down in front of the house. I think he was like, yep, I drove down the street, drove by it. Good. Yep, we're good.
Gave him a check out the window and he was done.
Exactly. Yeah. So good. Well, good. I'm glad to see that we agree on that, because I agree with you. I don't think we're heading to another bubble, and I don't think we're going to see another crash like before, because there are just way too many guidelines in place. And we spoke about this before, but people have just so much more equity in their homes right now. And some of the slides we're going to get to in a little bit, I think will kind of substantiate that some more. But let's get into a couple more questions here first. Sure. So John asked, in today's market, are sellers more concerned with offer amount or strength of offer, money down? What do they look at most importantly? honestly, John, they look at both.
Mhm.
You know, offers are coming in right now in our area, 99 to 102% of our asking price for a whole average, I would say.
Mhm.
So with that being the case, they're expecting, if they put their home on for 200,000, they're expecting 200,000. And so if you make an offer, you know, I had this happen yesterday, an email from an agent who tried to put an offer in on one of my properties. It's listed at 210,000 and they offered 175,000 on the property. And so, well, it's cash, close in 2 weeks' time. If he's a serious seller, he should think about my offer. No, he shouldn't
Mhm.
think about it. There's nothing else in the development available for sale. He's at 210. The next closest one that sold recently was 230 something. Yeah, his is a little older and needs some work, but we didn't even respond to them and give them the time of day because they were so far off on it.
Mhm.
Who cares that it was cash? We didn't. We looked at the first number. So they're going to first look at that and see what is your purchase price you're asking. Because I can offer cash all day long and people can still be offended by it. But then they're going to look at it. And if you're a situation where there are multiple offers on the table, they're going to then start to look at some of those other factors. And one of them is the amount you're putting down. You know, to me, if I see an offer and one is FHA and one's putting 20% down and they're all basically the same price, same other
Mhm.
details, I'm taking the 20% down almost every single time of the week. Erica, what would you say on that?
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. The other thing too that we're starting to see is if the client knows that, it's a possibility that the home might not appraise, they'll come back to us, even, the seller, to say, okay, they've asked 10,000 above purchase price. If it doesn't appraise, are they prepared to pay the difference? Things like that. And that goes a long way. And of course, I'll talk with the client, make sure they're prepared, they've got the funds needed, and they feel good about that when they make the offer.
Yeah.
And just making sure, thankfully, Myrtle Beach is one of the good things. I think it is still a small town. So I'll have listing agents reach out to me directly if they receive a pre-approval from me, and just make sure, that they're solid, that they've, again, done their due diligence up front and done the pre-approval and provide all the documents.
Yeah. And, in the contract, one of the things right now, John, that's probably even more important than what's the percentage you're putting down. If
Mhm.
you're willing to check and take the risk of the offer is not contingent upon it appraising,
Yes.
which there is a section, that makes your offer much, much more
Mhm.
appealing to a seller.
Yeah.
I just sold one last week where we went in and my clients are putting a sizable amount of money down. And I told them, I said, listen, this may only appraise for 260, 265, and they offered 272.
Mhm.
And I told them, I said, well, if this comes in at this, you're agreeing to put this amount down already. So you're going to still have to do that. But if it only appraises to that, you're going to have to bring another additional chunk of maybe $8, $10, $12,000. Are you willing to do that? And they said, yeah, we will. There's not anything. And this was the third house that we had wrote an offer on to try to get. And we
Yeah.
did it on every single one the same way. And finally, on the third one, we were able to win and get them the house, with it. So that's one of the big things in there, that if
Mhm.
you're willing to take that risk and you have the extra funds, that's what people are doing right now to get a home, because
Mhm.
inventory is still very limited. And depending on the price range you're looking in, it's almost extinct. So anyway, let's see here. Some other questions that came in. Mike says, hello, just closed on a resale in Del Webb last month, year and a half before we relocate to Myrtle Beach. Can't
Right.
wait. Awesome, Mike. Look us up when you get to the area. Say
Yes.
hello. Erica's around. You'll see me. We're always around. And let's see. Ashley said, what is the difference between a condo
Mhm.
and a condotel? Would you like to answer this one, dear, or would you like me?
Sure. I can start off and you jump in, but again, a condotel is really it's area specific. They don't have condo tels in each and every area, but a condo, more or less, it's a true residential home, whether it be your primary residence or second home, but you don't have nightly rentals. You don't have a check-in desk. You don't have, again, you can't search it on Google and see Expedia come up, that sort of thing. A condo tel is truly it operates like a hotel. Even though you own that unit, you're going to have a check-in desk. You might have the vacancy sign up. Nightly rentals are okay. That sort of thing. There might even be some timeshare in there. And Jeremy, definitely jump in.
Yeah, well, and when I have people who come along for those types of properties, I know, Erica, you guys are starting to do a little bit of the condo tel market now, but I use another lender usually for those types of properties and have over the past. And his kind of stipulation is this. First off, a condo tel is a condominium that acts as a hotel. So if there is a front desk where you check in, check out, that is a condo tel right away. But what he has told me recently is that the guidelines at their banks have started to tighten up a lot more, to where if it's any place that allows basically weekly rentals, it's almost always falling under the condo tel at this time, which is not good, because then it means, usually higher rates, more money down, maybe not a 30-year fixed loan that you're able to get on those types of properties. But just like you said a few minutes ago, they have to check and assure that they're going to be able to keep the financing in place and that people can afford these things, because they don't want a repeat of before. Yeah. Nobody wants that to happen. And so because of that, there's a lot closer magnifying glass that you're under, with a lot greater inspection of those things to make sure you can truly qualify and afford the property. So hopefully that answers your question, Ashley. So, all right, let's jump back into this here. And, so the other question I get then, Erica, is, well, if the market's so strong right now and I can't find a house, then I will just go rent. And I saw this graphic and I went, whoa. Yes. Yeah. So I talk with our rental manager. Our company has a whole rental management company division. And, I've actually given them like 3 or 4 properties this year for clients of mine that said, I want to buy at today's prices and not lose out. Yes. And you actually, you did the mortgage on one of them, and you're doing the mortgage on the other one that's closing beginning of the month for them. And, they asked me, so, well, Jeremy, how's the rental market here right now? And talking with Risa, our rental manager, she said it has been absolutely insane. And so this graphic I thought was pretty telling. Prices for rentals have skyrocketed. I know the house next door to me, we talk all the time about it's cheaper to own than it is to rent. And people kind of look at it as like, yeah, it's just a sales pitch. But here's the reality, and I'll be very transparent with this. My house that I own, I bought in 2019. My mortgage with taxes and insurance in it is just over $1,000 a month. The house next door to me, which is the same floor plan but doesn't have the bonus room upstairs, is rented for $1,900 a month. So really and truly, when we say it is cheaper to own than it is to rent, we're not making it up, people. It's the truth. It is definitely much, much cheaper these days, especially with interest rates where they are. I mean, we're seeing interest rates in where are they at right now, Erica? Like low threes, high twos?
Yeah, low threes, I think, is just a good conservative estimate. And even with investment properties, like you were talking about, to be able to, if you're not ready to retire or you're not ready to move here yet, why not start building wealth? And investment property rates, they're still under 4%, like 3.625. So cheap payment, good rental revenue coming in. And again, you're building that wealth.
Yeah, it's funny. As soon as I said, where are rates right now, would you say? The next slide that I had available was talking about where they are.
got
average.
excited.
And this is a national average. So right now the national average on Freddie Mac is 2.87. Here's something else that I found interesting, that where things are today, talking about mortgage payments as a percentage of your income. NAR says, the National Association of Realtors, say to people, your mortgage payment should be around a quarter of whatever your income is and they're giving they're going a lot higher than the historical average even, which is 21.2. But today's rates is at 17.1. So people are buying stuff and staying well within their means. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, that people are just being smarter buyers this time around. Here's average days on the market. Yep. Nope. We haven't seen a slowdown. April, May, and June, July, all at 17 days a month. So, yeah, definitely moving along. Here's something that was interesting, too, talking about the new monthly listing counts. And this is in thousands for across the country. So you can see here the orange line is 2020. Obviously, right here is where COVID hit in April and everything started to shut down. And you can see just not a lot of it. And as we got in December of this year, there wasn't a lot of inventory out there. Here's this year. Started real slow. We're a little bit higher. So there's a little bit more choices right now. But still, we're nowhere near what they were in 2017, 18, or 19. So inventory is still much, much lower than before. Average number of offers received on the most recent closed sales. And this is a national average. And so you can see, yes, we've had a little bit of a drop from up here down to here. And so we're 4.5, 4.5 offers. I know, Erica, you talk to agents all the time. How many of them do you hear you say, well, we tried to get this house for my buyers and we lost out. We lost out. And it took us 4 homes to find them one.
Oh, so many times. I mean, you mentioned you had a client recently with, he made 3 offers. Daily, it's what it takes. So you definitely have to be open. Don't marry your forever home until you have an accepted offer, right?
Yeah, for sure. And one of the things, and I'm not sure if you've heard this term. Have you heard the term buyer fatigue?
No, I have not until now, but that definitely makes sense.
So I'll talk about this for a second here. So buyer fatigue, let's talk about this a minute. So what it is when buyers they're excited to buy and they're excited and they go out and they come. This is what happens. I have them show up at my office. I had one the other day. They had 18 properties. Nick and Renee, if you're watching, I'm going to talk about you a minute. He actually said to me, he said, you're going to use me in a video. I know you are. So we're going to talk about Nick and Renee in a minute and their buyer fatigue. They had 18 homes on their list. And I sent him an email right after he sent that list. And I said, Nick, please drop this down to 4 to 5 homes. There's no way we can get through 18, 19 homes.
Sure.
He said, oh, we're professionals. We know what we're doing. We're going to be able to do this. I said, okay. So they came to my office on like a Wednesday afternoon or Wednesday morning. We met, we went through and looked at the homes that they had. Well, when we started to really dig into the homes, half of them were homes that had flooded. Some of the homes had been under contract, and some of the homes had tenants in place with leases that ran till middle of next year. One was as far as May 2023.
Wow.
Don't ask me why. The only thing I can figure on that one is that a family member moved in and they wanted to make sure they had a place to stay for a long period of time. So they signed a lease agreement at a reduced rate, then have a cheap place to stay for a long time. So till it was said and done, Nick and Renee had 2 homes on their list of 18 to look at.
Wow.
We went and looked at both of them. They said, no, thank you. Actually, no, I lied. One of the ones that they looked at, we wrote an offer on it. Multiple offers, we lost. So we met the next day, went out, looked at homes again, that new things that had come on the market. Wrote an offer, lost. Met the next day, tried again, finally got one taken care of. But what happens in this market right now is the buyers get tired. They get disappointed and they get this level of fatigue that they're just like, yeah, I don't care anymore. I give up. I quit. And, the thing that we have to remember is, number one, you need an agent who's going to be able to be aggressive enough to tell you what you need to do to try to win the home, and is going to be able to fight for you to try to get it in this type of market, and also going to be there to encourage you and say, listen, it's okay. We're going to find you something. It just may take us another day. It's okay. It may take us another day. It's okay. We'll find it. If you have to go home, we'll do it virtually. We'll find you something. It's going to be okay. And they were able to extend their stay for another day. We went out and another home hit the market. We went and looked at it right away. There was 2 offers on it that evening, but we were able to win out and get them the home. And honestly, at the end of the day, of the 3 properties we wrote offers on, it was the best of the 3, I think, by far, that we ended up getting for them. But, when you go and look at homes, there's the homes that have been sitting for a little while. There's usually a reason why, because there's issues with them, or they were flooded, or they were just really, really overpriced, or really, really bad condition. So, we as agents have to really do a good job trying to keep up with buyer fatigue, and then buyer's agent fatigue as well with them. So glad I could teach you a new
coffee,
term.
Right?
What?
I said lots of coffee, right?
Or for me, it's Mountain Dew. Yes. So let's see here. T Waters. I think it's Trent, if I remember. Hey, Jeremy, Erica, just got back from Cherry Grove 3 weeks ago. Condos in the building we stay at were going for $199 last year, and one just listed in the building for $299 this week. Amazing. Yep. That's the way the crazy market is right now, to say the least, for sure. So let's go back here. Let me turn off this so we can see the graphics a little better. And guys, if you have more questions, please ask them as we keep going through things here tonight. So somebody was asking earlier about new homes and how's that going. Here's the national average. So the dark blue is 2019, the medium blue is 2020, and then the brighter light blue is 2021. And so you can see, because of the supply issues and all that we've had this year, we're not able to sell as many new constructions. The inventory that they had saved up for 2020, which, back in 2020, April and May, I had a client come in, and it was the first time I had ever seen it. We went over to D.R. Horton community. The home was listed, and we built out what we wanted to do, and the price was $357,000. We offered them $345,000 to see what they would do, because the builders didn't know what the market was going to do at this point, and they wanted to make sure they stayed in business, so they were accepting all kinds of offers. We offered $345,000. Erica, you actually did the loan for Mike over in the parks, and they came back to us, the builder, and said, how about $343,000? We went, huh? We offered you $345,000. They said, well, we gave the guy next door the X amount off, so we wanted to be equal for you as well. That same home, Mike's home today, I could call and put on the market tomorrow for probably $445,000 and sell it in less than 24 hours. He bought it for $340,000 closed in September last year. So it literally just last week was his 1-year anniversary of being in the home. So, when you look at this graphic here and you see in 2020 that, there was a lot more new construction selling here. This was all the stuff that they had started building when they still could get the supplies and had a lot of the materials available to them. And they were selling it for whatever they could to get stuff sold. Nowadays, when you look at here, it's pretty steady across, not really a lot of change, because there's just not a lot of inventory. The builders have gone to being a spec home builder, and that's about it. Let's see here. Bob asks, can you explain the meaning of Little River, South Carolina being unincorporated? Erica, would you like to tackle this one?
Honestly, I don't know.
I don't either, Bob. Yeah. You've given me homework to do now.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, especially being from here. I've never heard that, but I will definitely do some homework for sure.
Go subscribe to Erica's Instagram. She'll do a story on it when she figures out the answer.
Yes, exactly. That's good.
There you go. So, Bob, go over there, find Erica on Instagram. What's your Instagram handle, Erica?
The Stylish Lender.
The Stylish Lender. That's right. And she will answer that in a story one of these days. All right. Elizabeth asks a question. We own our home outright. We want to buy in Myrtle, but selling our home first is a stumbling block. Why
Mhm.
can't we just take out a mortgage on a new home, sell old house, and pay off the mortgage?
It's a good question.
All right, Erica, I'm going to let you handle this one being the mortgage person.
Yes, I get that quite often, Elizabeth. So we have got flexibility. That's awesome for clients such as yourself, or that you want to go ahead and purchase, and it might be a couple years until this is your primary residence. You certainly, once you sell that home, you can pay off the mortgage, or you can do what's called a recast, and not all lenders offer this. So if you want to, I'm just going to make up figures here. You want to put down $20,000 on your mortgage. You can do so. If it's with Guild, you can just call me directly. I'll set it up for you. It will be applied towards principal, and then we recast or recalculate your mortgage payment. So it'll be that lower amount. It's almost like a free refinance because it doesn't affect your interest rate. And you can do that annually for free one time a year. It just has to be over $10,000 per time in order to do that recast. Again, it just gives you a ton of flexibility. You don't have to, if you don't want to pay use up all your cash, to purchase a home outright. Interest rates are so low. So why wouldn't you take a loan out, at 3%, have the ability to pay down at any point in time, to do that recast, save a ton on interest, and then you can earn triple the amount of interest in the market, right? By leaving it out into the market, reinvesting that cash instead of applying it all towards the home.
Yeah, and that's an amazing program that's there. The other thing I would say is this, Elizabeth, if you're thinking, hey, we own our house outright and we want to be able to buy there, but we don't want to be homeless, and have to sell our house, you can put your home on the market and get it under contract and come, and they will take contingencies if your home is under contract. I have right now, one second while I'm looking at my pending board over to the right. I have 1, 2, 3. I have 3 properties right now. 3 of them, my pending contracts are people contingent upon selling a home. What you want to do in this situation is one of 2 things. You either want to ask for a longer closing date on your sale up there. If you're from, I think, were you from Pennsylvania? I think it was. I don't remember where you were, but wherever you live right now, whenever you sell that house, get a little bit longer on the closing date. So go for 60 days up there, 45, 60 days. Don't be excited to take the 30-day closing, because down here right now with lenders and attorneys and appraisers and the inspectors, everybody's so busy. We need 45 days really to do a closing right. Eric, I know your team could do it faster if needed, but we ran into the same struggle just trying to do my refinance last month. We wanted to close it early, but the lender was too busy, or the attorney was too busy, and the appraiser was too busy. We couldn't get them out there to do the stuff and get it turned in fast enough. So you can purchase it contingent upon the sale of your home in XYZ if you're wanting to do a cash purchase here, and do it that way. It does save you basically spending all the money on closing cost fees for a loan and all, which, if you're wanting to watch your pennies, that's definitely something you can save a little bit on. And, Erica's probably saying, Jeremy, you're taking money out of my pocket, telling people this instead of let me do a loan I gave him a good solution, and her solution is amazing. And it's a great way to go. But if ultimately our job is to try to save money, and get you the best house, we can do stuff like that. So contingencies are not foreign, but they are more difficult. And so you have to really, really make your offer sweet if you're trying to do that. If you're going to come in with an offer and you can, carry a mortgage while owning your home now, then that's probably a safer bet to get your offer accepted for sure. So,
Jeremy, I'm going to piggyback on what you said. It reminded me of another situation I had recently. This particular client, they did have the ability to pay cash if their property they were living in sold. It was under contract. But what the seller did was had that client or the buyer go ahead through the pre-approval process, so they knew if something happened, and their home did not sell, that they could get a loan. It was more work on me, which is fine. I'm, again, always here to do the right thing for the client. But, it just basically solidified with the seller that this buyer is solid. They have two options. So regardless, they're going to close.
Yeah, and that's probably the win-win of all of it, way to go about it for sure. But Elizabeth, you definitely have some options.
Sure.
Whether it's you take the mortgage, buy the home, there is no prepayment penalties on your mortgages, right, Erica?
Correct.
So, if you take a mortgage and 6 months after buying the home here and having that mortgage, you sell your home wherever you live and pay it off, you pay it off and you're done, and so be it. So that's an option for you as well. Let's see here. Hubby says it's not tied to the city. So they're going back to the Little River unincorporated.
Gotcha.
So there's your answer. You'll still do a story on it for him.
Yes.
All right. So let's jump back over here to our graphics a little bit. Total home sales in thousands. This is resales. Once again, the darker blue is 2020. The lighter blue is 2021. And so if you look here in 2021, May, way more homes than it was last year. And part of that's because of COVID. So April and May last year, which would be your big spring markets, were down. Yeah, because there wasn't really a spring market rush last year because everybody was freaking out about COVID. But if you look, June this year, we were higher even than last year. And July, we came down just a little bit, but it's not that big of a deal. Not enough to pull the ripcord and slam on the panic button and freak out. Erica, in your business, on your side, what have you seen, with your business the last month or so? Are you guys slowing down? Are you, or have you dropped to a third of what you were doing last year at this time? I mean, what have you seen in your business this year?
No, I mean, especially, of course, refinances have been up because interest rates are so low. But on the purchase side, it's been very consistent, especially typically November, in my opinion, has been one of our busiest months in the real estate field. December is always either it's super busy or not so much. But Jeremy, I think you would agree, fall for Myrtle Beach area has always been busy because it's easier access. People can, physically see the homes versus trying to, get around town with the tourist season and everything, but definitely has not been a slowdown. Just takes a little bit more effort, right? Multiple offers.
Exactly. It's more work for the buyer's agents, and on the other side, on the listing side, people think, oh, listing agents have it easy right now. They just put the home on the market and it's sold in 2 days and they're done.
No.
It's so much more work right now. So much more. As difficulty and buyer fatigue sits in for an agent working on a buyer's side, the seller's side, we have to juggle, 5, 6, 7, 8 offers. We've got a dozen agents screaming on our voicemail and texting us, blowing up our text messages and our email, with, hey, is our offer accepted? Did you take ours? What's going on? We've put an offer in. What's going, constantly, it's to the point where when I get a listing right now and we have that multiple offer situation, I'm opening up an Excel spreadsheet, putting just the details that matter in it and handing it to my clients where it's very easy for them to look at and go, A, B, C, or D. Which offer do you want to take? I don't even put the buyer's names or the agent's name or their company on it. I just put the details and then let them pick which one they want, send the rejection letters to the other, and congratulations, yours was accepted to the one we take. But it's definitely more stressful right now, I think, being a listing
Mhm.
agent than it's ever been, having to deal with it. I had a property that I sold about a month and a half ago. It was a single family home over in Forestbrook. We listed it for 165, and I had 37 showings in the first weekend, I think it was, on it, and I had 6 offers to to go through with my seller. She's like, "Oh my gosh, this is more difficult than I thought."
Mhm.
So, it happens. Let's see here. Slick Rick asks, do HOA fees go up over time, or do they stay the same when living in a certain area? Erica, you guys do you have an HOA in your development?
We do not. We have
Okay.
a voluntary HOA that you can pay yearly. Most people do because it's the right thing. But
Right.
yeah, there
Yeah.
are some areas obviously with no HOA fees.
Yeah. So I can tell you this, Rick, from my development. I live in the farm in Carolina Forest. My HOA last year went up $6 a month. Okay. Now, before you freak out and go, oh my gosh, they rose the price. How dare they do that? Let me explain first off what we used to have. It was $84 a month. And for $84 a month, you get access to 2 community pools, one of which is an 800,000 gallon pool. You get
Mm.
access to a basketball court, a fitness center. There's a clubhouse that you could rent, weekly trash pickups included, and we had basic cable, which is about 75 to 80 channels included in that $84 a month. Well, last year, they decided they were going to raise our HOA because they were going to give us something else. So now for my $90 a month HOA, I also get high speed internet. So, I mean, Erica, you're probably spending $100 a month or more just for cable
More.
and internet at your house.
Yes, absolutely. You just sold me on your neighborhood.
You want me to find you a house to move? Is Chris ready to move? The kids will have more fun, I bet.
They probably would. Yes.
But as a whole, over time, yes, HOA fees are going to go up. Um, you know, I think where you're trying to go with your question is probably more towards the condominium side.
Mhm.
And going back to when the market all crashed and tumbled and the bubble burst. That all happened right around the same time as Hurricane Katrina. And when Hurricane Katrina came through, it basically destroyed the insurance market across the country. And so what we saw were insurance rates go from being one number to tripling almost overnight. Well, when you have a condominium complex where the HOA includes the insurance in your monthly fees and that triples, they had to collect. So the
Mhm.
HOA fee went from being $300 a month to $900 a month almost overnight in some of these complexes. Now, the other thing that can affect your HOA fees, especially on condominium buildings, is if there is special assessments. I just saw an article. What was the building complex? I believe it was Was it Landmark? I think it was down Oceanfront Building, where they're going to go through the building and resurface basically the whole exterior of the building, and the project
Mhm.
cost is going to be $3 million to complete everything they need to do. So how does that get paid? Well, they have some money in reserves for it to start the project, but how are they going to collect the rest? They're going to have to put a special assessment on. So you sometimes see quarterly assessments, sometimes it's a one-time assessment,
Mhm.
sometimes it just raises the HOA fee for 12 months to collect each month an extra $150 per 500 units to get what they need to cover the fees that they need to collect. I know Myrtle Point over in Myrtle Beach, they had to have major special assessments there, and they, instead of hitting people with a huge fee of like 20 some $1,000s per unit, they simply rose their HOA. So their HOA fees right now are $600-700 a month, and they're not on the beach. So whenever you have a homeowners association and you're in a condo complex, it can get pricey quick. But what we have to look at is what's included, and by that you can usually see what it's going to be. The big thing that usually adjusts it is if the insurance is included for a condo complex,
Mhm.
or sometimes simple things like if the landscaper crew they had this year charged them $425,000 to take care of the grounds for the year, and next year those fees go to $475, they got to find that $50,000 to pay them somewhere, because you can't just say, oh, we're not going to cut the grass anymore. So, they definitely do. They usually go up much more often. I don't remember seeing too many that have ever gone down. Now, in single family home developments, there's something that's called a capital contribution fee. And Erica, I know you see this a lot on the statements and all, especially when doing those new construction things. But most of your developments now here in Georgetown County have some sort of capital contribution fee. And what it is that every time that property transfers hands, there is a fee collected. Could be $200, $500. I've seen them as high as $2,000 that gets collected, that goes into the reserves for the homeowners association, so that if there is some sort of a special assessment or a major repair that needs to be done to a community center, or, heaven forbid, somebody drops something and cracks the pool and they have to resurface the whole thing, they don't have to hit everyone with a major assessment and bump things up. So they've put a lot of those things in place in the newer developments to try to curtail a lot of that. Do you have anything you want to add to that, Erica?
No, I think that's an excellent explanation.
Okay, good. So, guys, if you have more questions, keep them coming. We're having fun with this. Erica, are you having fun tonight?
Of course, yes. Talking about the city I love and getting people down here. It's always good spending time with you.
All right, so let's go on here back. We looked at that one. Pending home sales. It's so funny when you look at this graphic and you see this crater that was right here, otherwise known as "This is COVID," where the world stopped for 2 weeks and went, "Oh, we're back again." But if you look at the pending home sales, we bounced way up here, and the reason that this went so high up is it had to take up for this area here where nothing was going on. But even when you look at this year, we're still doing well. This is spring market and summer coming through here. We're in good shape. Next, average FICO score. Erica, you talk with people all the time about credit scores and all that stuff. I'm going to let you talk about this one.
That's a high average, honestly. It's a lot of people are fearful or scared of seeing if home ownership can be a reality for them. These are high credit scores. Guys, there's options for almost everyone. Some of the government programs, you can get it approved with as low as a 540 credit score. So there's been a ton of flexibility on the lending side to help people achieve home ownership. Again, it's the right thing. They're able to build wealth. They're able to save money instead of renting. They're able to pay less of a payment and own their home. So there's several great options out there for people that are either building their credit or, unfortunately had a bad circumstances. A couple years ago, they might have had to do a bankruptcy, or they had a business that went under, and now, they're back. They've got that security. They're, potentially now on salary versus self-employed, that sort of thing. So don't be afraid. We've just got to pull your credit to see where you are. And if you're not at a point that you can purchase now, it's not no, it's just not right now. Now is not the time. And we have so many different resources to give you great advice to get you into that place to purchase.
Yeah, and I sent somebody the other day your way, and they said, well, we're thinking about buying, but we have to work on our credit first. We have to do this. And I said, listen, take a couple minutes, go over to Erica's site, fill out the application. They will get back to you, and they will tell you, hey, you know what? Right now, your credit's, and a lot of times when you talk to people, they get on the phone with you and find out, oh, my score is actually higher than I thought it was.
A lot.
They're surprised. Like, what do you mean I can actually do something? But when I share with this person, they said, well, we need probably a year to get things in line and do this. And I said, well, Erica has a great team that can help you fix if there are credit oopses that you need to get taken care of. They will be able to help you with those things and do all of that. Just because you had a foreclosure at one time or a bankruptcy doesn't mean you can never own a home again. I'm living proof it can be done. So,
Nobody's perfect, but if there's a way to get it done, we'll be there. And sometimes, even if it's just like a couple points, we can do what's called a rapid rescore. It could be as easy as just paying down a balance on a credit card. You don't know until you get that credit pulled.
yeah, or as crazy as it sounded in my situation, I had no credit then.
Yeah, you got to build it.
I went from having, terrible, terrible. I was like, I'm not using a credit card ever again to none.
Yeah.
And so I had to figure out a way to build credit, which was kind of crazy. We got some good questions here. Oh, here's a great one that came in. Oh, that Jeremy Blanton guy. That's a great question. He wants to know, can I do a VA loan to build new construction? I had a phone conversation with someone today, and he wanted to know, can I build a custom home with a VA loan?
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of gave him an answer, but now I'm kind of second guessing it. So I'm going to let you answer this question.
So if it's true custom home where you have to pay the builder, draws, if you will, we don't offer that. I don't know if there's other companies that do, but if the builder,
yes,
I'm
the right answer.
Relieve stress for you. But if it is a new construction or the builder will cover the cost to construct and you would just take out that in loan, absolutely. And we even have what's called a builder extended lock for our veterans, where you can lock, get this, up to a year, and we waive your extended lock-in fee if you're a veteran. So it's absolutely no cost. You're 100% protected. So it will lock you into a little bit higher than today's rate because it's a year, right? It's a little bit riskier. And then when you're within 30 days of closing or the home is, close to completion, if rates are lower than the point when you locked in, we will float you down at no charge. Pretty darn good, huh?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. And that's pretty much what I shared with him. I said, I don't think you could do a VA loan to buy just the piece of dirt.
Right.
Because the builder's going to want to have a down payment to start. Mm-hmm. And a lot of your custom home builders now are wanting you to basically sign over your rights to the lot until the house is built. And then they sell it back to you at the end with your final payment. I said, I just don't think you can do that on a VA. And I said, now, if you go and buy, a DR Horton home or a Lennar or Pulte or one of these big builders that they're covering all the expenses except till the day of closing when you give them money, then sure, go ahead. We're golden. We can do that and buy you a home with a VA loan. No problem at all. So good. I answered it right.
You're so good, Jeremy.
It only took me 20 years to get the answer right, but I did. All right.
We learned from our mistakes.
Yeah, right. James asks, any issues with paying 2 mortgages while having new house built? Our mortgage done in 2023. House start building in 2022. FICO 7. Look, he's even giving you his FICO 772.
James, that is good.
So, any issues with paying 2 mortgages while having new house built?
Well, the answer depends on really on the individual, and it depends on you. So again, it goes back to making sure that this is a solid move for you, that you're not taking a risk. So we'll make sure, with looking at your income, that you can afford to pay 2 mortgage payments, for whatever time is needed. So again, depends on your individual situation, how much debt you have and how much income you have.
Yeah. And, you're doing one of these right now for Nick and Renee that we talked about earlier. They have a house. And they put their house on the market, but they wanted to make their offer stronger. So they tried to get it approved, not for just contingent upon selling their home, but just selling by being able to get approved while carrying 2 mortgages until if something were to happen and their other house does not close, they still can have both of them. A lot of it, James, comes down to just your income, and all of that stuff and your debt to make all of that stuff happen. Credit score itself, I don't think, and Erica, tell me if I'm wrong, but credit score itself doesn't really play that much into this. It's more the debt to income ratio stuff. Wouldn't you agree?
I do. Yes. The only thing, I mean, that's a amazing credit score. So it does help give you a little bit flexibility. It definitely helps get you the best pricing possible, but we can go up a little bit on debt to income with a strong credit score like that.
Nice. And can I buy a lot along the Intercoastal Waterway in one of the communities and not build for 4 years, where they make me build right away? Most of the developments do not have restrictions on it, Doug. There are a few that are going to have restrictions on them. One in particular up at the Grand Dunes is going to, Del Webb. They're going to put a restriction on they want you to build sooner. But, like the Bluffs on the Waterway Palms, Carolina Waterway Plantation, which are all right here in Carolina Forest, they do not put, I don't think there's any restrictions on time to build in there, because they're a little different. Del Webb is basically being built by one group, whereas the other ones that I mentioned over here, you can bring in any builder you want to build. So they're not going to put a restriction on those, that you have to build within a time frame. James says, we do have the cash for the deposit. Depending on how much you have to put down is also going to play into it, James, because once again, it then takes down your amount of debt. So if you're putting $100,000 down on a $300,000 home purchase here, it gives you a mortgage rate for a $200,000 mortgage with taxes and all in, we'll just say $1,000 versus if you're putting just 5% down on that $300,000, you're adding a lot more to your debt each month. Hope that makes sense. So, all right, back to our slides. And guys, thank you for the questions. Keep them coming. We're having fun. We're learning. We're having good discussions. Here we go. Let's see here. FICO score requirements the last 12 months. I don't think we need to carry that. Average days to close a loan. As you can see here, for some reason in December and January, they went up. Was there something going on in December and January, around the end of the year? Is there something that happens that time of year?
Well, you're probably not going to like my answer, but our attorneys here close for about 2 weeks in December. So that does prolong things.
Yeah, well, that, and there's this thing like a national holiday or two that happened there. And, not just the attorneys, but the courthouses are closed. People go on vacation. Everything kind of slows down in those months. But, this is a national average across the country, and we're a little bit ahead of it. What I have seen with most people, and Erica, you deal with a lot more attorneys than I do all up and down the beach. What are you seeing as the kind of the average time frame we need right now for closings?
Yeah, it's been difficult, and obviously it depends on the particular attorney and their bandwidth and their manpower to get it done as quickly as possible. But it used to be 30 days, in our area was pretty general. Now, I agree with you, Jeremy. 45 is really needed because it's taking with the appraisals. Definitely 2 weeks minimum. Oftentimes it's longer, especially if you are getting a government-backed loan like an FHA or VA, because the appraiser have to have the credentials to do that loan, and there's just a smaller pool for those appraisers, and it's time consuming, and then attorneys. The title work turnaround has been longer than usual.
Yeah, and I have seen, here's what I have found this year. Every time we've tried to do one in a quicker fashion, that is at any type of loan or even some of the cash deals, we're just doing extensions then at the last minute. And unfortunately, every deal that I've had lately, Erica, that has not been a Guild mortgage loan has had to have some sort of an extension done. I
Mm.
had one that she was using her friend who was a lender in New Jersey who could write down here in South Carolina. They're
Sure.
great. And I tried to explain, the importance of using a local lender when you buy,
Mhm.
because they know the market here. They have the connections to get the appraisers, and they're
Yeah.
not having to go to a Rolodex and say, okay, who's in South Carolina, an appraiser? Ah, this one looks good. Let's call Bob
Mhm.
Joe. With it, you guys have not preferred appraisers, but you have your list of appraisers that when a loan comes in, it automatically picks whoever the random is up next and sends
Mhm.
it out to them, and things get going with it right away. You understand how closings happen in Horry County. You understand how things can be a little backwards here at times. And,
Right.
some of the attorneys here in our area still today are not doing table funding. And
Mhm.
so you have to wait till
Yeah.
they get their courier
Mhm.
to shuffle down to the courthouse and stand in line and wait their turn to get stamped.
Mhm.
Okay, we're recorded. And then you can get the keys to the home. And I just had this last week. It finally closed, but I had a lady who was buying and she used her own lender from New Jersey, and everything got delayed and delayed and delayed. Her home in New Jersey was sold. She was a single mom
Mhm.
living down here in the La Quinta with her 2 cats and her 5th grade daughter,
Ugh.
because she had to move into the La Quinta because her daughter needed to start school. They came from New Jersey, where New Jersey starts school 3 weeks
Later.
after us. And so when they
Mhm.
came to look at houses, they said, my kids are already in school. They've been in
Mhm.
for a week. Oh my gosh, really? Yeah. So, you know, give yourself that time. 45 days
Absolutely.
is just going to make your life, the lender's life, the attorney's
Mhm.
life, everybody's life much
Mhm.
easier. And I'm almost to the point where I'm just going to make it a requirement. We're doing 45 no matter what. I remember the days you could do a cash buy 2 weeks time, boom, 2 weeks closed, done. Not
Mhm.
happening. Cash deals are at least 30 to 40 days now as well.
Exactly. They still have to get the title work and everything else. And it goes back, thank you for recommending using a local lender, but the same when it comes to realtors, you need to have somebody that has your back, that has your best interest at heart and knows knows these ins and outs, such as yourself. So it does. It's again, this is a huge investment, folks. You've got to have the right people on your side.
Yeah, well, and the one thing that I'll say is this: here in our area, there are over 4,000 real estate agents in our
Yeah.
association.
Mhm.
The last time I had seen the city limits of Myrtle Beach population was like what, 28, 30,000
Yeah,
people.
it's not much.
So, there's not a lot. But basically, what I'm getting at is this: there's a lot of people who have a real estate license, but you
Mhm.
want somebody who's doing it day in, day out, understands where the market is today and what's happening with it. The deal that one I was talking about, the agent on the other side, oh, I can help. I got an attorney that can do it in the time, no problem. And I started talking to them and asking them questions about this, and I could tell she had not done but maybe one or two other deals the entire
Right.
2021, and she didn't have an idea, a clue what was
Mhm.
going on in the market. So
So
be
you were
careful
working
with it.
both sides and helping everybody.
Exactly. So, all right, let's jump back in here to some of these slides. So we're talking about, should we buy now or should we wait for 2022
Mhm.
or 2023? This graphic right here would tell me, when I look at this right here, I'd want to buy as soon as I could, because it's talking about prices and how they have gone up in basically a year's time. And
Mhm.
look, we're up 19%. That's insane.
Mhm.
So what was and who was it earlier that mentioned in one of the condo complexes in our chat? Who was that? Trent. Trent said, I was in the town last year and saw a condo for $199, and this year it's $299. The longer you wait, as long as prices keep doing this, which everything we see is showing signs of it continuing to do it, you're just basically throwing away money to
Mhm.
wait longer. And Erica, interest rates I know you're not a fortune teller that can see the future,
Sure.
but my guess is that we're going to see interest rates start to go up some point here in the near future. They have to, right? I mean, they can't continue to stay around the 2 to 3 mark, can they?
No. And, we've been, oh my goodness, home buyers have been just so lucky because last year, the beginning of 21, the forecast was that they would be in the, close to 4% at this time in the third quarter. And we're not. It stayed flat, which has obviously been wonderful for folks. And they are expected, to slowly rise, and be in that range closer to 4% next year. In the grand scheme of things, guys, it's still super low. I'm sure many of you on this call remember, I was happy as I'll get out in 2004 and 5 to have an adjustable rate mortgage at 8%. So I think we're getting too used to these super low rates. But who can beat this? 3%, 4%, you name it, as your appreciation is steadily rising. Yeah, now is the time. It makes complete sense.
Yeah, well, and Erica, I've seen a lot of graphics, and I don't know if it's scare tactics or what it is, but, if interest rates today are 3% and they go to 3.25% next month, your $300,000 mortgage is going to go up, X number of dollars, which is going to cost you all this money, and you're not going to be able to afford it. I know there's some truth to that, but, as interest rates continue to go up, your buying power goes down.
Correct.
If you're approved today for $300,000, you're not going to be able to maybe buy that house when it goes to $325 now, because your interest rate has also gone from 3 to 3.25, and it's going to cost you an extra $300-$400 a month.
Right.
That could be the difference between being able to own in Myrtle Beach or not.
Yeah.
One of the other things. And I want to go to this because I had this come up earlier and I wanted to share it before I forget again. But going back to my girl from New Jersey, Dana, who just bought here. Dana owned in New Jersey a condo up there in the 340, so I think it was like 340, 350 range that she owned. So when she came down here, Dana said, I can't afford a house over 340, 350. I know what my payments are right now. I can't afford it. The thing that she did not factor into this, and what I shared with her is I said, Dana, I said, how much are you paying for taxes right now? And she told me the number, and I basically broke it down and said, okay, so you're paying this every 6 months. So that times 12 gets you this, divided, times 2 is gets you to this, divided by 12. It was like $557 a month was going to taxes, which is insane.
Yeah, there's $100 and something thousand right there. More buying power.
Exactly. So when I told her she could afford a home at $450 versus $350, no, Jeremy, I can't do that. That's crazy. No. And I had to basically break it down, show her all of it, have her call her lender to verify what I was sharing was accurate. And she ended up buying a house for $445. And she's like, I can't believe I have this massive house at $445,000, and it's less than what she was paying for her $350,000 house up in New Jersey. So when you're coming to the area, people, one of the things that I would suggest is this: don't judge what you can afford here just solely on what you're paying right now and what your mortgage was and what you have. Because here's the other part. Unless you've bought that house in the last 12 months, your interest rate is going to be much higher. We just refinanced my home, and I think, Erica, if I remember correctly, it was $352 a month that I was able to save by refinancing, because I was also able to drop off the PMI. And so if you're putting 20% down, that's going to give you a lot more buying power because you don't have PMI as well going on. And so doing those two things saves me $352 a month on it. So, you have to really talk to somebody and see. Don't base it on just what you had in the past. And once again, going back to what we shared earlier, talk with that local lender, because you guys have a pretty good idea of what you can expect on a $300,000 house if it's your primary residence, what the taxes are going to be, what the insurance is going to roughly be for in the neighborhood that it's in. And you have done enough of this to know our area and get a pretty good estimate of what people can expect each and every month their payments to be. And so that's why it's so important, I think, to have somebody local. So let's go back here. We have some more questions. And guys, gosh, 90 minutes, Erica. I'm talking a lot.
It's just so fun.
Yeah, well, you need to tell me, shush, we got to go to bed. So anyway, guys, if you have any questions, start sending them in now, because we're going to wrap this up in just the next few minutes and shut this off. But here's some that came in. Ashley wanted to know, how long do you have before your pre-approval expires?
Ashley, that's a great question. I wish more people asked that. Good for you. So your credit report is good for 90 days. So the pre-approval lasts for 90 days. And obviously, if something changes major, please fill me in. If you get a change in your employment or salary or any major purchases, it's so crucial to be open and honest throughout the process of what's going on, so we can help best guide you.
And then she had a follow-up question after that. How do you check your FICO score?
Another good one. There's a ton that you can do online that unfortunately it's not very accurate. So if this is what you're looking to do, if you're looking to purchase a home, I highly recommend going to a lender, and as Jeremy said, a local lender. I would love to help to pull a legitimate credit report, so we have, again, accurate figures, and we can best guide you on the best loan product options, all that good stuff.
Go right here. Go right here.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing I will say too, a lot of those places where you can check your scores, they're not accurate, number one.
No.
But, a lender's going to pull from the 3 major credit agencies, and they're going to take those scores and look at all of them and use that to figure it out. And so you could go to one of the sites and, they give you, the experience says, hey, you're 800. But then you go to TransUnion and they say you're 600. But all you've seen is the one with the 6. You're like, oh my gosh, I can't afford a house right now.
Right.
But, with that, Erica, you guys, how does it work? You take the average of the 3. Is that what they do?
Yes, it's the true middle score. So if your scores were a 600, a 625, a 650, we would use the 625. And another thing too to keep in mind, if you go to some of these third-party sites and try to get your credit pulled to get an idea, they've got your information, guys. So you're going to get hounded by other, online lenders and credit agencies. And you talk about stress. That's going to be super stressful. If you go through us or another dependable lender, we can walk you through the process of getting everything secure so you don't have that done.
Talking about hounding, a few years back, right after we were looking, actually it was when we were buying a house. One of the homes that we were looking at needed a new roof. And so my wife was just trying to figure out, what can you expect the average cost for a new roof if we were to purchase this home? And she went, I want to say it was on a website, and it was like Sears Roebuck. I don't understand why, but Sears was selling new roofs. And she put her information in, and her phone literally rung off the hook for 4 days straight with all of these companies calling every 15 minutes. Hey, I hear you need a roof. Let me see what I can do to help you. So not fun. All right, let's see. So anyway, guys, when you're ready to start that process, easiest way, just you can shoot me an email, shoot Erica an email, or if you just literally go to Google and type in Eric Davis Guild Mortgage, it'll pull up her page right here. And right here is a big blue button right in the center. It says apply now to start. Easiest way to get things going. Or you can call them. They'll do it over the phone as well. So, hey, Jeremy. Hey, Erica. What is the best resource to find a custom builder in Myrtle Beach area? What would you say, Erica?
I knew you were going to put the spotlight on me. This one, it's so hard because, that changes on a day-to-day basis, really, with, new builders coming into town. Some builders that are semi-retired and building on the side, like you just don't know. So that's definitely hard. You definitely want to do some due diligence, look at reviews, talk to people firsthand on what's worked for them. Jeremy, what else would you recommend? That's definitely a hard one.
So I would definitely, number one, I would be checking online reviews and
Yes.
seeing reviews that are recent.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can find reviews that are 5 years old, and that's great. But if the person is, like you said, semi-retired now, that's not going to be up to date. The other thing I would suggest is, in the development that you're moving to, it's
Mm-hmm.
easy. Just go around to your neighbors and ask them, hey, who built your house? What was your experience like? Did you like it? Did you not? And don't just go to one person and they say, oh, I love Joe Builder. He was amazing. And you call
Mm-hmm.
Joe Builder the next day and he's getting, $100,000 to start your home. Talk to people. The other thing is when you get with that builder, ask them for references. Now, of course, they're going to give you their best of the best. I had a builder in town. It's been probably 4 years ago now that one of my clients had found online through one of the job search site type things where you can find a contractor type of thing. And this guy was highly rated. The thing I will say is this: on those types of sites like Angie's List and all them, people are paying to be on those sites. So if they're on the top, it's not because necessarily they're the best. It's just they paid more than others. And oh, this guy's great. He gave me a reference. Well, my people were looking to build a house in the 400,000 range, and he takes us over to Wild Wing and takes us in an $800,000 home. It was nothing like what we were wanting to do.
Mm-hmm.
And so my people are in, oh my gosh, this house is amazing. And he can do this and he can do that. And I had to keep reminding them over and over as we walked through the house, guys, this is an $800,000 home. You can't get all of these things in a $400,000 price range. You're not going to be able to do all of these things. Oh, it's great, 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 great. Those would be some of my big suggestions. Talk to the neighbors in the neighborhood you're looking to buy or build, because you want a builder who knows that development. They're going to be up to date with the restrictions and rules and regulations for building. Each development has very specific rules. One of the developments down here, some of their rules include the house has to be a specific size. The home has to have at least 3 different textures on the front of the house. And so you can't put an all brick home there because it's not allowed. You can't have just one. It's got to have 3 different ones. And so there's all kinds of rules and restrictions in there. And so if you find somebody who's familiar with the development, you're going to be in much better shape when it comes to those custom builders. And if you want more information on them, feel free to shoot me an email. My email's info@jeremyblanton.com. And, I can give you some good, the bad, and different on a few and give you a couple suggestions depending on where you're building. The other thing is, does the builder build in that part of the state or in that part of the city? There's some that only build in Carolina Forest and aren't going to travel to Pawleys Island. Just like one that's in Pawleys Island is not going to come up to Little River to build a house for you. It costs too much to have a crew on the northern end of the beach when they work the southern end. So, there's a lot of variables and factors that go into that for sure.
That's great advice, Jeremy.
GTI123 also asks another question. Are you seeing crazy price increases similar to home prices for raw land down there? The land market itself is not as crazy and chaotic as the resales, because not everybody can afford to buy a piece of dirt. Erica, if I want to get a mortgage, can I get a mortgage for just a piece of dirt?
We do not do them, and not a lot of lenders do. So definitely need to do your homework there. If you don't have cash to purchase it, there's some local banks that offer it, but again, that's just going to be, it's totally different than a conventional mortgage. You'll have a higher down payment amount. The term on it is going to be different. Typically, it's not a 30-year fixed, it's a shorter term loan.
Exactly. And that's my point, is that not many people can afford to buy the piece of dirt. So there's not as huge a market and not as high a demand for those types of things. Where if I buy a single family home that has the house already completed with certificate of occupancy, any lender anywhere can do the loan on it if they're licensed in our state for it. And, anybody can buy it and get a mortgage for it. Versus the piece of dirt, I have to basically have the cash in hand to purchase to start. And then I usually have to have, like we talked about earlier, enough money to get them started. And there are specialty loans out there. Erica, do you offer any type of, construction loans and those types of things?
We don't at the moment. I know it is coming out shortly, but not at the moment. And that's another product, guys, that's not as readily available. So again, it's going to be, you're going to have fewer options there, higher down payment as well. And it's kind of similar to almost the condo approval process, right, Jeremy?
Yeah.
Not only do we get you approved, we also get the builder approved to make sure you are protected again, that there's no lawsuits against the builder. He's got the reserves, he's a good, dependable person for you.
Yeah. And so unless you have the cash to do the whole buying the dirt, building it, paying and all that, you can do it. There are ways, and you can sometimes find, like I said earlier, a builder that will carry the cost to build the house. But what they're going to require you to do is basically, once you have the deed in hand for the lot, sign it over to them. And you basically, just bought a lot for $150,000, $200,000 and handed it over to some stranger instantly. Yeah. And you're hoping and praying that they do what they're going to do and build the house that they're supposed to build, because you no longer own the lot. And, then at the end, when everything is done and they've gotten their money, they will sign everything back over to you at that time. So there's definitely some tricky situations for those types of loans for sure. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. Do we have any other questions? Doesn't look like we do right now. So guys, I'm going to give you like 2-3 minutes. If you have any other ones, feel free to share them. And Erica, while they're doing that, I'm going to give you, this is your time to shine. Go ahead, tell the people what's on your mind. How can they reach you?
Yeah.
All that kind of good stuff.
Absolutely. As we talked about, guys, now is, if you can buy now, do it. The prices continue to increase. It's a wonderful way to build wealth, and it's not risky. It's right here. You've got something physical. You can be a part of Myrtle Beach, enjoy the sand, enjoy the sunshine and the ocean. And rates are super low right now. So the buying power increases. So highly recommend it. Again, I grew up here. I love it. This is always going to be my hometown. So it's so wonderful to be able to be here with Jeremy and help you guys into exploring those options. But I've got as he said, a great team here. We have everybody, full force on deck, if you will, to make sure that this process goes as seamless as possible. You close on time and just take any stress off of you, just to help you. And you can reach me very easily. My contact information is on the website. You can call or text that number provided. I have a team available at all times, even the weekends. And he is sharing my Instagram. If you want some fashion help along with lending, there I am.
Yep. So you can find her on Instagram, The Stylish Lender. And you're totally celebrity. I didn't even realize almost 40,000 followers on here.
It's fun. The styling part is my decompression.
You're going to have to look. Here she is with her husband, Chris, when they were on CNBC and Bloomberg and all that. Yeah.
It's all about Myrtle Beach. It's amazing, guys. If you haven't been here, you definitely need to explore it.
Yep. So, check her out there. You can reach her on stylishlender.com. Isn't that your website as well as stylishlender.com?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. So I'll go over to the website so you guys can kind of see that too. Where, hey, if you want some stylish information, you can find that too. But you can also learn a bunch about mortgages and lending and all that kind of good stuff. And if you want to just make it easy, go to Google, type in Erica Davis Guild Mortgage. It'll take you right to her guild page where you can hit the apply button right there. Let's see. We got another question that came in here. Ray Winter's office just informed us that they are closing. So do we request all our paperwork from them? I'm not sure what paperwork you're referring to. If you've already closed with them in the past, yeah, you might want to get a copy of it. Although they should have given you one at the day of closing. Normally the attorneys give you a copy right there. It is unfortunate to hear that they're closing. For those of you that may not know, Ray Winters was a great real estate attorney here in town. And unfortunately, he contracted COVID and passed away from it. But so hopefully that answers your question, Chris. So on that note, it's now 8:46. I think, Erica, we're going to call it a night. If anybody has any last questions, speak now or forever hold your peace. If you guys have questions about moving to the area or, where's a good place to get a burger or anything, feel free to reach out. Erica, we'll end with this because I don't want to end on a down note question. So let's end with something fun.
Okay.
Give me your top 3 places to eat in Myrtle Beach today.
Ooh, that's the good stuff. My go-to, my number one is Fire and Smoke on 79th Avenue North. I'm embarrassed to say, but I probably go there once a week. The food is just so fresh, so amazing. And if you want a fun cocktail, they also have that as well.
And I'm embarrassed to say I've never gone yet.
Oh, we're going. You're going to love it. And I know you have good taste in food too. So you'll start going once a week for sure.
Well, I never had gone to Hook and Barrel until you sent me before. And I'm ashamed to say I never had done that one either. So.
And did you get the bacon at Hook and Barrel?
Of course we did. Didn't I send you the picture with me
yes,
looking
you
through
did.
the bacon? I had bacon hanging here on bacon hangers, and we were looking through them. So,
guys, it's the best. And they have a great brunch. Typically, they do brunch on Sundays too. So that's a great place to check out.
So, Fire and Smoke, Hook and Barrel. Give us a third one.
Drift. If you are here for a weekend and you just want to have a fun breakfast or lunch, definitely check it out. The menu is so wide range. So if you're healthy, you're vegetarian, or you want some good old fried food, they've got it all.
Another that I have not.
I was going to say, I can tell you've never been there. So let's hear yours, because I need some, I guess I need to get outside my box, my go-to box.
Yeah, but mine are ones you've been to before, I'm sure.
Let's hear it.
Our new local spot that we've really enjoyed lately is right around the house, right around the corner from our house, is the Sneaky Beagle.
I went there last week.
Yep. It's owned by the same people who own Grumpy Monk. And it's a great just little spot to go. What's cool is if you want, you can bring the dog along and sit outside. They have meal items even for dogs. Did you take your dog with you?
It was his birthday last week, and we took the kids, and they brought him a cupcake. It was so much family fun. It's awesome.
Okay. But that's probably right now, I would say, our favorite spot. Another one, which we haven't been to in forever, and it's such a little hole in the wall, but it's down on 707. And Max, that works with you, he turned us on to this one, Fork and Links. It's just a little bar type of thing, but they have fresh patty burgers and and wings and fresh cut French fries. and
Uh-huh.
it's super, super affordable. I mean, I think it was like
Cool.
$6 for a burger and fries. I mean, it was
What?
and it was good.
Yeah. You
Real
can't
good
even
stuff.
make it for that. So I'll definitely have to try it out.
Tell me about it. But
Mhm.
you know how it is when you have kids. We don't go out. Honestly, we don't go out to eat a whole lot these days. And if it is,
Yeah.
it's cookout usually. Or like last night, we finished a meeting at church and it was like 8:30. We ended up grabbing Chick-fil-A on the way home.
Yeah, obviously Chick-fil-A, if you've got kids, that is certainly a go-to,
Mm-hmm.
morning, noon, or night.
Well, it was more so the wife said to me, hey, the kids are hungry. We need something to eat quick for them.
Yeah.
So we were on the way to Taco Bell and we were
Mm.
driving, though, my vehicle. And I said, we're not having taco shells and shredded lettuce all over the back. So we made an audible into Chick-fil-A and got nuggets instead.
Mhm.
Much safer. So
Smart.
anyway,
Smart father.
guys, it's been almost 2 hours that we've been going. We've had a lot of good conversations, a lot of good questions. We thank y'all for joining us tonight.
Absolutely.
VC asked as we end, will you have another live session soon? This was very informative. Thank you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes, we will do this again. Erica, would you come back on again and talk to the people?
Of course. I mean, you're so amazing at what you do, and you love Myrtle Beach as much as I do. So absolutely. Thank you. I would love that.
So VC, we're going to do it again.
Yes.
Don't know when yet, but we will do it again here soon. I promise it won't be as long a drought since the last time. But guys, hope everybody has a great evening. Like I said, if you have questions about moving to the area, shoot me an email, info@jeremyblanton.com. And, if you want information on Erica and can't find her, even shoot me an email there and I will get you in touch with her. Hope everybody has a great night and I will catch you all later. See ya.
Awesome. Bye, guys. Thank you, Jeremy.
See ya.